It was 1974 when Margaret, known by her friends as Peggy, went out for a drink after work. At the bar, she met a woman named Carol who had a striking resemblance to actress Farrah Fawcett. The two women hit it off right away, and by the end of the night, they had decided to become friends. They said their goodbyes, and Peggy drove home in her Volkswagen Beetle. But something happened on that drive that we don't know about because the next day, Peggy just disappeared. This is what happened to Peggy Hetzel. Peggy Hetzel was born on March 18, 1936. She grew up in New Jersey and later moved to Los Angeles. On February 13, 1974, she left her home at around 5:15 p.m. for her daily commute to work. Peggy worked as an administrative assistant at Farmers and Merchants Bank in downtown L.A. After a busy day of working, Peggy was looking forward to winding down and relaxing after work, so she stopped by the Beverly Glen Tavern for a drink. At the bar, Peggy ordered herself a Kir Royale, which was her favorite drink. As she sipped on her drink, she made small talk with some of the other patrons at the bar. When she was done with work, a woman approached the bar and ordered a drink. Peggy turned around to look at her and immediately thought that the woman looked exactly like Farrah Fawcett. She asked the woman if she was related to the actress, but she replied that she wasn't. The two women started chatting and they quickly hit it off. They talked for about an hour, and then Peggy suggested that they go to another bar called the Daisy. The two women agreed, and Peggy paid the check and the bartender called her a cab. At the Daisy, the women sat at the bar and continued talking until around 12:30 a.m. Then they decided to move to a quieter table in the corner of the bar. Sometime later, the woman told Peggy her name was Carol and that she had recently come back to L.A. from living abroad. According to Carol, she had traveled all over Europe for several years and had just returned from Thailand, where she taught children. She said that she had plans to travel to Alaska to teach children there. She also said that she had recently spent time in Africa and Australia. Carol claimed that she had a wealthy family and that her father owned one of the biggest insurance companies in America. She said that she was getting a divorce and that she wanted to start a new life. As the evening went on, Carol got a bit more personal and flirty with Peggy. According to witnesses, they were laughing and smiling a lot and seemed to be having a great time together. At around 1 a.m., the two women decided to leave the bar. Peggy drove them both home in her 1969 dark blue Volkswagen Beetle. Before they got in the car, Peggy complimented Carol's looks and told her that she was pretty. Carol replied by kissing Peggy passionately. Witnesses said that the kiss lasted for quite a while. After the kiss, the two women got into the Beetle and Peggy drove them both away. That was the last time anyone saw Peggy alive. On February 14th, Valentine's Day, Peggy didn't show up to work. Her boss called her home, but no one answered the phone. Her colleagues found this odd since Peggy would never miss work unless she was really sick. They tried calling her again, but still no answer. At around 1 p.m., Peggy's boss called the police to report her missing. That same day, detectives went to Peggy's house to search it and see if anything was amiss. They soon found that there was nothing out of the ordinary. All of her belongings were there and her purse and car keys were sitting on the kitchen counter as if she had just stepped out for some groceries. Her neighbors told the police that they hadn't seen anything unusual the night before and that they hadn't heard any screams or seen any suspicious cars in the neighborhood. They also said that they hadn't seen Peggy since the day before. The police released a statement to the press saying that Peggy was missing and that they were concerned for her welfare. They asked anyone with information on her disappearance to come forward. But as days turned into weeks, the case went cold, and the police had no leads. To this day, nobody knows what happened to Peggy after she dropped Carol off at her house. But there are a few theories. One theory is that Peggy was murdered by a stranger. This is supported by the fact that Peggy's body has never been found. If she had run away, it's likely that she would have contacted her family or friends. But the police have never been able to identify any suspects in the case. Another theory is that Carol killed Peggy. According to witnesses, Carol and Peggy were close in age and both of them were single. However, there were some significant differences between the two women. Peggy was married, but her husband, Hal, was out of the picture. He had been in prison for 5 years for embezzling money from his employer. Carol, on the other hand, was a free spirit who loved to travel the world. She was also very flirtatious and had a bit of a wild side. Some believe that Carol lured Peggy into a compromising position and then took advantage of her. Others believe that Carol snapped and killed Peggy in a fit of rage. However, there is no evidence to support these claims. In 2020, Oxygen Network featured the case on an episode of their show, Snapped. They interviewed Carol for the episode, but she denied having anything to do with Peggy's disappearance. She also said that she hadn't heard from Peggy after that night and that she had no idea what happened to her. Carol told the investigators that she had a clear alibi and could prove it. She said that after she got out of Peggy's car that night, she went straight to bed. But the investigators couldn't find any records of Carol's phone calls or credit card transactions that night. This led the investigators to believe that Carol was being evasive and that she might be hiding something. However, they never pressed charges against her, and she was never convicted of a crime. When the police searched her house, they found traces of blood in the garage. But Carol claimed that the blood was hers and that she had cut herself while doing dishes. She also said that she had no idea how the blood got onto her clothes, which were covered in what appeared to be bloodstains. However, the police never bought this story and they continued to investigate her. They even put a surveillance on her house, but they never saw anyone enter or exit the premises. Carol told the police that she had company, but she refused to say who it was. She also wouldn't let the police search her house again. The police eventually backed off when they got a call from a private investigator hired by Carol's family. The PI told the police that Carol had hired him to get a restraining order against them and to keep them away from her house. The PI also threatened to sue the police if they didn't back off, so the police had no choice but to drop the investigation. There are many unanswered questions in this case. What happened to Peggy after she left the bar with Carol? Did Carol kill Peggy? And if so, where is her body? These are just a few of the questions that the police and Peggy's family hope will be answered someday. Peggy's brother said that he believes Carol is responsible for his sister's disappearance. He says that the police dropped the ball when they didn't charge her with a crime. He also believes that Carol's family helped her cover up the crime. He says that they had a lot of money and power and were able to get away with it. But despite all the theories and speculation, the truth is that nobody knows what happened to Peggy. She was a bright and bubbly woman who was loved by everyone who knew her. Her disappearance shocked the community, and to this day, people are searching for answers. After Peggy vanished, her husband, Hal, got out of prison. He died in 1999 of a heart attack. Peggy's family never gave up hope that she would be found alive. They put up reward money and worked with private investigators to find her. But all of their efforts have been in vain. Today, Peggy's case is still open, and the police are still looking for answers. They are asking anyone with information to come forward, no matter how small it may seem. Peggy's family is also offering a reward of $100,000 for information leading to her whereabouts. So, what do you think happened to Peggy? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you have any information on this case, please contact the authorities. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Make sure to subscribe to the channel to stay updated on all of our latest episodes. Until then, stay safe, and I'll see you next time.